Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Here she goes. Great ass! And you got your head all the way up it. Say hello to my little friend.
Hoo-ah! Oh, yeah. I'm the hand of Mona Lisa's skirt. I'm a surprise, Kevin. They don't see me coming.
I knew your godfather, okay?
No, I know you did. He was your dad's partner. And as you can see now, he's an old man.
Stop talking about
After
me like
all
I'm
these
not in the
years,
fucking
none
room.
of us were gonna
I
allow
said
that-
stop talking about me like I'm not in the fucking room.
Hi all and welcome back to my Al Pacino retrospective review series. I'm your host Jeff Bronson as always, and this is episode 14 of the third season, in which we will be taking a look at the 2011 crime thriller, The Son of No One. Written and directed by Dito Montiel, one of them two, and starring Channing Tatum, Katie Holmes, Julliete Binoche, James Ransome, Tracy Morgan, Ray Liotta, and of course, the man, the myth, the legend, Al Pacino. Among others, of course. Now, this film I only seen once on this very Blu-ray which I purchased many years ago. I think about 10 years ago, at least, if not more, or something like that. Never watched it. I never watched it since. I couldn't remember a damn thing about it until I rewatched it for this review. To be honest, I just gave this a rewatch before the review, and I still find it hard to remember anything that happened. So this is a very, very bland, forgettable film. This one, it's I think this is definitely one that went straight to DVD or straight to Blu-ray or whatever, not a theatrical release, but it's just very, very sloppy and forgettable despite having some good actors in it. It's a very run-of-the-mill forgettable one for me, sorry to say right up front. One noteworthy thing in this one is there is a few scenes that Pacino and Ray Liotta share together, which that had never happened before or sadly since, because of course Ray Liotta's sadly no longer with us, may he rest in peace. But other than that, not a great film by any means. Pretty sure this is one that Pacino took just for the paycheck. Just how bad and uninspiring is it? Well, that's what we're here to take a look at. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive into The Son of No One from 2011. Here we go. The plot of the movie goes as follows. In 2002, Jonathan White, played by Channing Tatum, is a rookie police officer under Captain Marion Mathers, played by Ray Liotta, in the Queens, New York neighborhood where he grew up. To provide for his wife Carrie, played by Katie Holmes, and ailing young daughter Charlotte, played by Ursula Parker, he works hard to keep his life on track, but his life is threatened when a dark secret from his past surfaces. An anonymous source reveals new information about two unsolved murders from 1986 in the same neighborhood. In 1986, 14-year-old Jonathan killed two men in self-defense. His friend Vinny, played by Tracy Morgan, helped him to dispose of the bodies and keep their involvement a secret from the authorities. The detective on the case, Stanford, played by Al Pacino, knew that Jonathan was involved, but he disposed of the evidence out of loyalty to Jonathan's late father, who had been his partner. The boyfriend of Vinny's mother forced Vinny to have sex with him. Vinny and Jonathan decided to rob the man and escape, but their plan went horribly wrong. Now it all seems to be bubbling back onto the surface. It's a very uninspiring and run-of-the-mill straight-to-DVD crime thriller. It has a good cast, but sadly that's all it's got going for it, as the directing by Dito Montiel feels lackluster and uninspired in my opinion. Channing Tatum, though a good actor, doesn't convince us the main lead in this. Apparently he had already worked with this director twice before, but I don't think that this director got a great performance out of him in the slightest. The character he plays did absolutely nothing for me, other than one particular flashback sequence in which he killed a guy that kicked his dog to death. Other than that, I couldn't really care less about the drama in this character's adult life. A shame for Tatum, because there's actually a few films where I do like him in, but sadly he did nothing for me here. Katie Holmes does okay as the wife, but is heavily underutilized in this one, to be honest. In fact, whenever the story returns to her, it's like, oh yeah, she was in this too. Very forgettable, sorry to say. Tracy Morgan, another actor I do like, is again wasted in this and with very limited screen time as the adult version of Vinny. His character went through a heavy trauma as a kid and is pretty much a shell of his former self by the time we catch up with him in the story in the present day. If he had more screen time and focus put on him, I think the whole thing would have worked much better, but alas. I did like the resolution to his character in the end though, but that's about it. Ray Liotta, in my opinion, is the MVP of this movie, along with the yet-to-be-mentioned Al Pacino. He effortlessly plays the crooked police captain and is an absolute scene stealer and a highlight here for sure. I've always loved Liotta ever since Goodfellas, of course, and he is the one that shined the most in this one for me. Top marks for this legendary actor. Al Pacino, like mentioned, is of course the only other standout aside from Liotta in this sadly much too limited role, in which he does do a fine job, of course. It is Pacino after all. He only appears in flashbacks at first before we see him again in the present day right at the ending of the film, where luckily he does actually get to share the screen with Liotta, which was absolutely wonderful to see. I just wish it would have been for a much better film, to be honest, but still, I'll take what I can get when it comes to this. A shame there couldn't have been a greater collaboration between him and Pacino. May he rest in peace. Indeed, this film was released straight to DVD in most territories, including Germany, the Netherlands, and the UK. It had a very limited theatrical run in the US from what I could find, but definitely didn't do much of an impact, both box office wise and critically. On an estimated budget of about $15 million, the film only grossed just over $1 million. At the time of doing this review, the film sits at a 16% critic score and a 22% audience score over on Rotten Tomatoes. And over on IMDb, the film sits at a 5.1 star rating out of 10. Which is a bit too high for me, as I personally give this one a 4.5 stars out of 10, and believe me, that's mostly for Liotta and Pacino. It's a very forgettable, ordinary, run-of-the-mill cop film, which is a bore to sit through as well. I don't recommend this film, unless people really want to see Pacino and Liotta together, which to be fair, like I said, is the only great thing this film does have to offer, but alas, isn't enough to 100% save it. Recommended for purists only, and that's that. So there you guys have it. That was my review for The Son of No One. Like I said, it's a very, very uninspiring film. You know, the critics don't like it much. Audience don't like it much. Again, the only good thing it has going for Ray Liotta does give a strong performance. He does have quite a bit more to do than Pacino. There's the occasional scene, like I said, where he does share the screen with Pacino. It's mostly towards the end. That was great to see these two actors sharing the same screen. Channing Tatum, while I don't mind him, I'm not like he's a terrible actor or whatever, but it's just he's not gonna be one of my favorite actors. You know, he's okay. He's okay. Not really convincing as the lead though. Like I said, I do like Katie Holmes, but she's grossly underused. She has nothing to do. She has zero to do. Tracy Morgan, I think, is okay, but with his character, it's kind of I don't know. It's not a good film. I am 100% convinced that this is one of the films that Pacino took for the paycheck, just like the next one that is coming up, which we'll be talking about in a few seconds. Which I will show you in a few seconds anyway. We'll be talking about it next week. But yeah, no, it's the only thing worth the price of admission in this one is that it does have a few scenes of Al Pacino and Ray Liotta together. I mean, that's really it. I mean, yes, this is a film that's rightfully forgotten and should stay forgotten. This is not one I will desire to watch. Honestly, I've seen it now twice. Once again many years ago, and once now for review. It'll probably take me another 20 to 30 years, if that, when I decide like, hey, let's give this another watch. So this is not one that I recommend. Recommend it for Pacino completionists only. And if you think this is bad, that's nothing compared to what we'll be discussing next week. Because next week is the infamous paycheck film that Pacino did, and he talked about the fact that this was a paycheck film in his biography, in his autobiography, Sonny Boy. This is the infamous 2011 Adam Sandler comedy. It's time for Jack and Jill. Can you tell I'm not looking forward to this one? But sadly, it is coming up, and sadly sooner than you think, because next week we'll be discussing it, so I'll have to give this steaming piece of shit another rewatch. The things I do for your entertainment. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching this review. Here's a shout out to my member Crushers Movies and Games. If anybody would like to consider becoming a member, the link to do so is down in the description box, and I would appreciate it, and it does help the channel out. And with all that having been said, stay safe and healthy and keep punching. And we'll see you next week for Jack and Jill. Hoo-ha! See you next week, guys.